So pretty much out of nowhere today, a Madam Web trailer dropped. And yeah, like I said, it came out of nowhere. I saw a post on Instagram that was like showing the different Spider Women in this trailer. We'll get back to them in a minute. It said from the Madam Web trailer, I'm like, when did a trailer drop? Apparently it dropped this morning, so yeah. So, before I get into the Madam Web trailer, I kind of want to talk about the other Sony Marvel movies that have both been released, are going to be released, that haven't yet, and just kind of wonder, what the hell is Sony doing? So, the only movies we've gotten in the Sony Spider-Man universe, which, yes, that's still the name they're going with, very creative, guys, is the two Venom movies and Morbius. And I'm going to be perfectly honest, I've liked all three of those movies. I liked the Venom movies, I thought the second one was better, but they were both pretty fun movies. And I'm one of the few people on the planet that actually thinks that Morbius wasn't that bad of a movie, and that it got more of a bad reputation because of shitty memes on the internet and some really bad end credit scenes, and the fact that it got delayed like 30 times. But the movie itself, I think if the movie made its original release date and it hadn't been screwed over by so many stupid-ass memes on the internet, I think it would have been better, it would have been more well-received, and I think it would have done better at the box office. The end credit scenes were absolute trash, but other than that, I thought the movie was fine. And some other Sony movies that have yet to be released. El Muerto was officially taken off the release calendar, and as soon as that movie was announced, I had a feeling that was a PR stunt, because there's no way in hell they were going to make a movie based on fucking El Muerto. Like, this is a guy who's shown up in, like, 2 Spider-Man comics, and doesn't have any superpowers. I think he's, like, a little bit stronger than your average luchador, but other than that, there's nothing special about him. So I had a feeling that was a PR stunt right off the bat. And then next year we get Venom 3, which still does not have a title, but it's just Venom 3, I guess, right now. And we also get Kraven the Hunter, and that one I am very much looking forward to. We got a trailer for that a while ago, back when it still had an October 2023 release date, and it looked pretty badass. I don't understand why it had to be delayed so far. I get their excuse was the strike, but you really had to delay it almost a fucking year. You couldn't have just pushed it to February and then moved Madam Web back a little bit. It's a simple process here, guys. I don't know why you're making it so hard on yourselves. Same thing with the MCU. They're pushing these movies back so far when they don't need to. Hell, the only MCU movie we're getting next year now is Deadpool 3. But now I'm going to circle back to Madam Web. And I'm going to be perfectly honest, as someone who has liked the Sony Spider-Man movies so far for what they are, and is really looking forward to Kraven the Hunter and Venom 3, this movie looks straight up terrible. I looked in the comments on this because I wanted to see if everybody else was just as underwhelmed by this trailer as I was. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't think... I'm trying to figure out a way to put this. I don't think this is going to be as bad as some other Marvel movies have been. Like, I don't think this is going to be as bad as, like, Spider-Man 3, or Dark Phoenix, or Howard the Duck. I don't think it's going to be that bad. But this could be on the level of bad of maybe, like, Ghost Rider 2, or Fant Four Stick, or one of these other these terrible modern comic book movies. It reminds me a lot of Fant Four Stick. It really does. And not to mention, I have no idea what the hell is going on in this trailer. I looked at a bunch of other articles, and it seems like I'm not alone. Okay, but circling back to what I was saying about the comment section, pretty much everybody was pointing out that this looked like a high-budget fan film, and it really does. And not just because it looks bad. It's the cinematography, the lighting, the shot composition, it all looks like a fan film. It reminded me a lot of Spider-Man Lotus, just with a higher budget. This looks like a high-budget fan film. Normally, I kind of roll my eyes when people say, oh, this looks like a high-budget fan film, but this really does look like a high-budget fan film. And again, it's not because it has bad CGI, or just because it has bad writing. Again, like I said, the cinematography, the shot composition, the editing, the lighting, it all looks like it's made by it's made like oh my god, it looks like it's made by first-time filmmakers that never went to film school. Okay, you know what, hang on, who's directing this? I have the cast pulled up because I want to talk about that for a second. Who's directing this movie? It's probably somebody I've never heard of. I cannot find who's S.J. Clarkson. Who the hell is this? Okay, so this person has directed episodes of Jessica Jones and The Defenders. Now, I liked Jessica Jones and The Defenders. I still don't understand why The Defenders didn't get a second season. Like, you could have, when they canceled all the Netflix shows, why didn't they just finish it off with Defenders? But I didn't look at everything else because, honestly, I don't care. But, yeah, this kind of does feel like this belongs on Netflix and not in theaters. Now I want to get to the cast. Dakota Johnson plays Cassandra Webb, and honestly, the only thing I've seen Dakota Johnson in recently that I can think of is the 50 Shades movies, and she's not exactly great in those, and, well, to be fair, nobody is. But she already seemed like an odd casting for Madam Web, not to mention that she's supposed to have gray hair and gray eyes, and she does not. Like, the eyes don't really bother me, but the fact that she doesn't have gray hair is weird. And she's supposed to be blind in the comics, or she becomes blind before all this spider stuff happens. Like, she has the bandana over her face because she's blind. She ain't blind in this. Oh, and side note, if you're wondering if this trailer follows the comics at all, no, it doesn't. Hell, I even double-checked, and no, this does not follow the comics one bit. But now we get to the team of Spider-Women. And first off, we have Sydney Sweeney as Julia Carpenter, who actually seems like a perfect fit. I got the picture right here, because that was like the only one I could find of the trailer, and so she definitely has the right look for the part, and she's a good actress, so I could see this working. Isabella Merced plays Anya Corazon. We don't really see much of her in the trailer, but she's a decent actress, so I'm assuming she could probably do this fine. But then there's Celeste O'Connor as Maddie Franklin, who's white in the comics. Fuck you, Sony. First Spider-Woman in Across the Spider-Verse, and now this. We also get a glimpse at Adam Scott, who plays Ben Parker, and it looks like he's an alternate version of Spider-Man from the set photos we saw months and months ago, back when this was still in production. We also have Emma Roberts, who plays Mary Parker in this as well. I'm assuming she's going to be another version of Spider-Woman. I'm just spitballing here. And then we have Tahar Rahim, I'm assuming I'm saying that right, as the villain of the movie, Ezekiel Sims. And I'm going to be perfectly honest, I had no idea who this guy was. I've read a lot of Spider-Man comics, but I've never heard of Ezekiel Sims. And I did a bit of research. I have the Marvel database up on my computer, and he's not a villain. I'm assuming, if I were to guess, they might throw in a twist where he's not actually a villain. It's going to be some same bullshit like they pulled with Across the Spider-Verse, where they tried to, with Miguel O'Hara, where he's not really a villain, he's just trying to keep balance in the multiverse or some stupid shit. But he's glaringly obvious, it's glaringly obvious that he's the villain. And hell, here, he's murdering people, he's kicking the shit out of all the Spider-Women in a diner for some reason. There's a lot of, points where Madam Web will go back in time, a few seconds for some reason. I don't really know what they're doing with that. And if they're doing some shit like Memento or something, because one of the things that did happen in the comics is that at some point she had damage to her short-term memory. So she forgot a bunch of stuff, but that doesn't look like what they're doing here. It looks like they're trying to do some time travel crap, and I'm not really on board with that. I'm kind of getting sick of time travel movies. The Flash kind of destroyed time travel and multiverse movies for me. Well, Across the Spider-Verse was kind of the nail in the coffin for that one. Actually, The Flash came out afterwards. So The Flash was the nail in the coffin for multiverse movies and time travel movies, and it looks like this one is also both. And that is worrisome. I do think the suits that they have for this, the suit designs, are pretty cool. They're very comic accurate, which I do appreciate. Sims' suit is kind of generic. It's just a black suit with, the red web on it. The lines are supposed to look like spider webs, but it still looks good enough. But I have no idea what Sony is planning. They tried to set up their big Sinister Six with Morbius, and that ended up being kind of a joke. because they shoved Michael Keaton into an end credit scene where he did not belong and didn't make any sense. It would have made more sense if it came out before Spider-Man No Way Home like it was supposed to, like they had in the trailer, where I'm assuming it was just supposed to be a variant. But then they decided to pull this shit to try to connect it to the MCU, because Sony is desperate to connect itself to the MCU. That's why I don't consider those Spider-Verse movies canon. That's something I liked about Into the Spider-Verse, is that it was a contained multiverse, but then Across the Spider-Verse said fuck that, and tried to connect it to every Spider-Man on the planet. Like, it tried desperately to, and it was one of the reasons why it convinced people that it was good, because it had cameos by Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, Tom Holland, the Insomniac Spider-Man, Spectacular Spider-Man. It had all of these cameos that convinced people that it was good. This one doesn't seem like they're doing that, and thank God for that. What I don't need out of Sony's Spider-Man universe is sad, desperate attempts to connect it to a far superior and much more successful franchise. Do I think Madam Web will be good? No. This looks bad. Unless the second trailer comes out before February and looks like a goddamn masterpiece, I'm calling it right now that this movie's going to suck, and suck hard. Do I think it will be the worst film connected to Spider-Man? No, I don't see this being worse than Across the Spider-Verse or Spider-Man 3. But will this be successful? No. I can already see it from the comments on it, all the articles and everything. People are clowning on this trailer. Again, a lot of people like me saying it looks like a fan film, and that's exactly what this looks like. If this was a fan film, this would be pretty impressive, but the simple fact that this had a probably huge budget, probably didn't have that big of a budget. My guess it would probably be around what the Venom movies and Morbius had. I believe that would track around $75 to $100 million. They have some big names in this movie, so they probably spent most of the budget there, and the effects, most of them will probably be practical, I'm hoping, but I guess we'll just have to see what happens when it releases in February of 2024. Oh boy, I have no idea what Sony's doing, and I'm not sure I'm excited about it anymore. So that's all I got for this one, and I will see y'all next time. Bye.